A word of warning, New York is addictive. How did New York become the most famous city on earth? And how does it, totally unbothered, still hold on to that fame? You have to be there to feel its pulse, because it can hardly be described in words. Here are 10 best out of 1001 reasons why you should allow yourself this extravagant, life-changing experience. Reason number 1, the Statue of Liberty. Welcome to New York and welcome to its most prominent landmark, the Statue of Liberty. Libertas, the goddess of liberty, is shown carrying a torch and a tablet marked with the year 1776, the year of the United States Declaration of Independence and of the abolition of slavery. The Statue of Liberty was crafted by the French artist Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi and was named Liberty Enlightening the World. The outer shell is made of copper, hence the green pattern of verdigris, and the metal frame inside was devised by Eiffel, the same builder whose company created a few years later the Eiffel Tower. The Statue of Liberty arrived in New York as a gift in 1886 and was listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site right after the First World War in 1923. The meaning of the Statue of Liberty was heightened even more when an immigration processing station was situated on Ellis Island nearby, making her the first thing to see and to remember for those who arrived on U.S. soil. Coined the Mother of Exiles, the statue has retained that symbolism to this day. The torch illuminated many people's American dreams. Today it is covered in 24-karat gold and lit with floodlights. Throughout the years, the Statue of Liberty was taken over several times by demonstrators for causes or against injustices, be it with or without an official permit. The Gay Pride Parade was one of the few that received official permission to use the statue for their cause. Today, the Green Lady is open again to the public, as well as a brand new museum on Ellis Island, and the statue has been pampered and fitted with a new interior, plus exhaustive repairs to its exterior to 21st century standards and beyond. Reason number 2, Manhattan. New York is one of the largest megacities on the planet. Nevertheless, visitors mostly associate New York with its heart, Manhattan. New York consists of 5 boroughs: Manhattan, Brooklyn, the Bronx, Staten Island, and Queens. The island that houses New York's dynamic city center has a certain type of allure that not too many other cities have. I still have to find a person who would not want to see it, at least once. Though when they do, they feel the urge to see it over and over again, because its charms and its shocking grandeur become intimately familiar so very fast. The city carries with dignity its scars, particularly the most recent ones. Where once stood 2 towers, now there is one. Built to replace, to remember, and to hope again. Standing tall at 102 stories, it is the tallest point in Manhattan since 2015, and a place from where one can see it all. The One World Observatory is located atop of the One World Trade Center's new building. With 145 screens and the world's largest LED recording everyone's hometowns, it is a futuristic experience above the clouds. Although Manhattan is an agglomeration of high-rises that looks like it was formed by the earth itself, like when mountains emerge from within, we tend to fall for some of its most illustrious icons. Some you can visit all the way to the top, such as the Rockefeller The Rock and the Empire State Building. Others, like the Flatiron Building or the Chrysler Building, you might want to see from the ground, as you stroll in awe among many other giants built in concrete and glass over the past century. In order of height, One World Trade is the tallest, and the Empire State Building ranks 7th. Climbing on top of buildings can be done from the inside via observatories such as the One World, the Empire State Building, the Summit One Vanderbilt, and the Top of the Rock, or on open-air glass sky decks like the Edge New York City at 30 Hudson Yards. You can even climb on the outside of the building with City Climb, strapped in a harness. Not for me. Some observatories stay open very late, allowing visitors to see the sunset and New York by night. But it is the ground level that affords you the best night view of the city, the most intimate, the most familiar. It is the ground level where you can see the steam rising from the underground, a quintessential New York thing. Where you can stop at a hot dog stand and order one with all the toppings. Where you can peer into magical store windows and hear the monotonous rhythm of horse hooves, going to rest after a long day in the service of the tourism industry. I'm not sure if days or nights are more fascinating in Manhattan. I'll let you be the judge. Reason number 3, Central Park. What would such a large city be without its green lungs? Central Park is the United States' most famous and most frequented park, and has been part of Manhattan for over 150 years. The park is a true work of art, extending over 132 acres of land, with a harmonious ensemble of lawns, lakes, forested areas, a hill, and beautifully manicured gardens. Aside from its nature elements, amenities for visitors abound, starting with miles and miles of walking trails, about 24 playgrounds, a swimming pool, a zoo, and no less than 30 tennis courts and 26 baseball diamonds. Central Park is a wonderland for all ages during summer. In winter, it also gets 2 skating rinks. The Great Lawn at Central Park hosts yearly the largest free outdoor classical music concert in the United States by the New York Philharmonic and the Metropolitan Opera, as well as the recent Global Citizens Festival, with historic headliners such as Coldplay, Pearl Jam, Beyoncé, Rihanna, and Jungkook. A boathouse, a terrace, a water fountain in neo-Renaissance style, and about 200 bridges are perfect spots for your selfies. But please don't be in a hurry. Take your time and linger. Bring a book, bring a picnic basket, and sit down on the grass among a lazy crowd of many other strangers doing the same. Take pictures of fallen leaves in puddles of water before you climb the hill, just like Ralph Fiennes and Jennifer Lopez did in Made in Manhattan, to see a unique side of the city, of high-rises fading behind swaying trees. And ultimately, to take a horse-drawn carriage ride and close your eyes for a few minutes. Central Park has its unique rhythm of sounds and silence you will not so easily forget. Reason number 4, bridges. Manhattan is an island, and thus its arteries uniting it with the mainland and other neighboring islands run over many bridges and through underground tunnels. New York City, being made of islands, peninsulas, and mainland areas, has about 800 bridges and tunnels, while Manhattan has about 24. Although 21 Bridges is the name of a movie, many people take that number as the official count, but bridges are built and rebuilt and can be counted in many ways. What actually matters is what bridges stand out the most and for what reason: their traffic, their history, their urban role, their looks. Here are some of my favorites. Brooklyn Bridge, Manhattan Bridge, and Williamsburg Bridge are 3 urban bridges open to foot traffic, all 3 running between Lower Manhattan and Brooklyn, New York's second largest borough. Brooklyn Bridge, a neo-Gothic beauty, opened in 1883 and is the most stunning as far as looks go. It has no train rails, thus affording a quieter stroll between Manhattan and the Fulton Ferry Landing Pier in Brooklyn. The Manhattan Bridge will take you to Chinatown, while Williamsburg Bridge runs from Lower East Side to Brooklyn. Queensboro Bridge, between Upper East Side and Queens, it's also a gorgeous cantilever metal construction with a bike lane. A very special mention goes to George Washington Bridge that unites Manhattan with New Jersey over the Hudson River. It is the world's busiest and the world's only suspension bridge with 14 traffic lanes divided over 2 levels. Over 100 million cars and trucks pass it each year. It stands since 1931 and is only second in length to San Francisco's iconic Golden Gate. Reason number 5, the Met. I singled out the Met among New York's museums because of its notoriety, but there are other museums you should visit. The MoMA, Museum of Modern Art, that houses Van Gogh's Starry Night, Andy Warhol's Campbell soup cans, and Duchamp's bicycle wheel, among many others worthy of their reputation. Don't miss the American Museum of Natural History, that spans over 20 buildings and exists since 1871. The dino collection is amazing. The Met, as the Metropolitan Museum of Art is called PR-wise, especially when hosting the Met Gala, New York's most sought-after social affair, is, before night falls, one of the world's best art museums, covering several millenniums of human creative pursuits. The art collections are curated by world regions as well as by time periods. In addition, it holds extensive collections of weapons, costumes, and musical instruments. The Met has its art pieces exhibited in different locations, though its impressive main building located on Fifth Avenue near Central Park, Upper East Side, is best known to visitors. Its facade and Great Hall are built in Beaux-Arts style. An airy greenhouse-type atrium houses the sculpture court, while the Egyptian antiquity collection is displayed in a temple-like setting surrounded by a water canal. All in all, a grand and impressive experience. Reason number 6, Grand Central. New York, just like most major cities, has its two main train stations in the middle of the town. Penn Station and Grand Central Station are, in that order, the two busiest in the United States, although it is hard to tell from the ground level. Grand Central runs intercity trains and commuter trains on 44 platforms, more than any other train station in the world, divided to serve trains into two underground levels of 30 and 26 tracks, for a total of 67, 43 active, and the rest for storing trains. Grand Central is also a major touristic attraction, receiving millions of visitors each year who are not going to jump on a train but are there to just linger and enjoy the facilities. The Beaux-Arts style building is a historic landmark, easy to distinguish by its iconic main concourse, a favorite meeting place for New Yorkers. The focal point is a golden clock with 4 sides. It's hard to miss people in that vast, unobstructed hall that has often been used for filming movies, music videos, or even flash mob dances. The main concourse is connected to surrounding avenues and streets via passages and ramps, allowing commuters to disperse rather fast. Some might opt to shop at the Grand Central Market that is housed in the middle below-ground passage, or dine at one of the restaurants at the station. One passage also connects to the subway Grand Central Station for local transport. The station was imperiled to be demolished in 1970 to build a huge high-rise, but was saved by Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. If you should go there around Christmas, the holiday market is held in the Vanderbilt Hall, named after the family that originally built the station. A charming dining concourse is just below the main concourse. You can't miss it. Enjoy. Reason number 7, Niagara. If you arrive from overseas to visit New York and would like to add an additional American wonder to your travel itinerary, the first that comes to mind is Niagara. Although it is not just around the corner, it can be reached via a scenic long drive or by plane in an hour and a half. Each continent has its stellar waterfall, from Iguazu to Victoria and such. Niagara is North America's major star. It can be seen from the skies, and even from farther away. It has the shape of a wide horseshoe formed by a gorge, a sudden drop in the ground level of the Niagara River's way to drain the Lake Erie into Lake Ontario. But the White Horseshoe is not the only fall. Niagara Falls consists of 3 falls: the Horseshoe Falls, the American Falls, and the Bridal Veil Falls. The first is the major one, and it forms the border between Canada and the state of New York, while the other 2 are entirely on American soil. A set of twin cities are located on each side of the border, both called Niagara Falls. Downstream from the falls, there is a functional bridge, the Rainbow Bridge, that unites today the 2 Niagara Falls localities and the United States with Canada. The falls formed after the most recent ice age, 10,000 years ago, when the water from the melted glaciers carved its way to the sea, forming the Great Lakes. Erosion keeps working its natural magic each year, carving a more even way, and it is expected that 50,000 years from now, the Niagara Falls will cease to exist, what gives us all plenty of time to visit them. Jokes aside, preservation efforts have been long-standing and constant, reinforcing the top and redirecting damaging currents. During such recent works on the American Falls, the water was diverted via a dam for a few months, and the ground strengthened and bolted down. Nevertheless, harnessing Niagara's hydroelectric powers poses an additional risk, which both countries have promised to mitigate. As far as known and recorded, the Niagara Falls froze over about 7 times in the past century and a half. There are many ways to see the falls. May each person select the least invasive. Reason number 8, Times Square. Nothing screams New York louder than the Times Square. While the Statue of Liberty represents New York emotionally, its high-rises physically, Times Square is New York's state of mind, standing in for the pace at which New York and New Yorkers function. their mental agility, creativity, novelty, variety, and everything else from kitsch to chic that this super city produces at numbing speeds. Starting with the fact that it's not a square at all, this oddly bow-tie-shaped 5 blocks long space is the cherry on top of one of the most impressive entertainment districts in the world. 42 Street and Broadway form an unparalleled cluster of performance and broadcasting venues in an area that has truly never seen a downtime, but was consistently cleaned and redeveloped by those who had foreseen its value and potential. The square in itself cannot be described in words, such as flickering neon signs and illuminated billboards. One has to be there to take it all in. The colors, the lights, the sounds, the rhythms, the sequences, and the movement of people, their faces, their voices, the taxis, the laughter, because we are all different and react to sensory stimulus in a different way. I can describe it for myself like a kid in a candy store, for colors are my main weakness. I'm curious on how everyone else feels. In the giant buildings surrounding the square, the large studios of ABC host Good Morning America, while top retailers, major restaurant chains, tourist attractions, as well as multiplex theaters tempt the 130 million annual visitors on a daily basis. Times Square, the busiest place in the world, also hosts the most famous New Year's celebration on Earth, with the ball drop on one Times Square building, hence the name of the bow-tie square. Reason number 9, eateries. New York has found the best and easiest way to deal with locals and tourists getting hungry all at the same time. Although the city, and especially Manhattan, has not really invented anything new, it has perfected the way of spreading food options evenly across time and space, thus being ready to catch each and every hungry street warrior before they fall. Most of the touristic pedestrian traffic would happen from the museum area on Upper East Side all the way to Lower Manhattan. From the museum cafeterias, you can easily last until you reach the street food vendors on Central Park. From there, walk to Columbus Circle on 8th and Broadway. If hungry, make a stop at the shops at Columbus Circle, which have coffee shops, a food court with eateries, and a Whole Foods market. You can continue your journey on 8th or 7th Avenue and hit some of the existing delis or delicatessen eateries there. The famous Carnegie Deli no longer exists, but similar places still abound around the Broadway theaters for pre- and post-functions meals, as well as near touristic attractions like the MoMA or Radio City Hall. Your next stop could be Times Square, a bit farther south, then continue to Bryant Park on 6th Avenue. Soon you'll reach the Empire State Building area. Move over to 5th Avenue and you will bump into Italy by the Flatiron Building. But not before you cross Koreatown. Korean bakeries, pastry shops, Korean barbecue restaurants, and a bottle of soju will definitely hit the spot. Across, in Brooklyn, there are Little Italy and Chinatown. It's impossible to go hungry in New York. If you happen to be there for Christmas, I envy you. It is the most magical of all times, and the best reason to return over and over again. After some roasted chestnuts and mulled wine, peek into Macy's before you hit Bergdorf Goodman on 5th to see the new decorated storefront windows. I promise you, you will feel like a kid in a candy store. Reason number 10, cocktails. Why do I feel like all James Bond drinks are made in Manhattan? Well, because they are. The Manhattan, the Martini, the Cosmopolitan, the Old Fashioned, the Brooklyn, the New York Sour, the Appletini have New York written all over them. I'm sure there are debates over locations, creators, dates, and recipes, but that is irrelevant at the moment. Allow me to share some wisdom about what will be in your glass when you order one of these at New York's favorite clubs, while you match your steps to those of the city's celebs and socialites, figuratively speaking. The Manhattan was made at the Manhattan Club and consists of American whiskey, vermouth, and Angostura bitter, served on ice with a maraschino cherry. A martini, the classic version, is made of gin and dry vermouth, stirred over a couple of ice cubes, then poured in a martini glass with a wedge of lemon or a green olive. The Cosmopolitan was born in Tribeca in the 80s and is made of citrus vodka triple sec of Cointreau, the juice from a half a lime, and garnished with a lime wheel. What about the penicillin? It sounds medicinal, but it is a potent and very tasty cocktail made with fresh ginger, blended malt scotch, juice from a whole lemon, and honey syrup. After serving it, it is topped with more scotch, preferably single malt. Last on my list today, the classic old-fashioned. is concocted with bourbon or rye whiskey, poured over a sugar cube mashed with Angostura bitters. The last touch is a slice of orange squeezed and added to the drink. Stir well. So, if you want to go out in style to a club in New York, here are a few names I heard about here and there. The Gansevoort Park Rooftop, the 10AK, one of a kind, the Electric Room, Berghain, the Avenue, or maybe just dance the night away at the Tao, Wiggle Room, Virgo, Lavo, or Musica. Well, let me know how it went. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please don't smash any buttons, just gently like and subscribe for more. The world is vast and it's all yours. Next time, you might also want to fall in love with this next destination over there. Thank you.